Thokozani bogogo, Thokozani bomkhulu. Greetings, everyone. I hope you're having a pleasant day. It's Africa Day today. So happy Africa Day to all my African people of all colors, of all persuasions. I hope you have an amazing day, and I pray for the peace and the joy that it will follow you wherever you are in the world. So tonight we are talking about beads, hashtag talking beads, and we're also going to talk about crystals. We'll see how many we can fit into the episode. I'm trying not to make them too long, but let's get started. So I think it's fitting that we talk about beads today on Africa Day, because beads have always been a fundamental part of the culture and how we adorn ourselves. Beads have cultural significance depending on the color and the type. Some also have spiritual significance. Before we had plastic and glass beads, Africans adorned themselves with beads made from the seeds of various trees, gemstones, shells, and you'll probably notice that there's a resurgence in popularity of cowrie shells being used for jewelry. But I will showcase some. I'm going to just, before we go into that, just talk a little bit about the significance of beads, particularly for those of us in Southern Africa who have ancestral and healing gifts. The thing is, Africans have always understood the science of vibration, and they used to trade beads with the Indians and the Arabs and the Portuguese as well, I believe, because they understood that the colors represent a very specific vibration and that they could use that vibration in terms of balancing energies and healing. So you'll find that a lot of, if you want to call them ancient sites, actually they have found evidence, including beadwork and pottery. There is African beadwork of various levels of skill and complexity that is displayed in museums throughout the world. So Africans have always worked with beads, particularly in Southern Africa. So I actually have a number of strands of beads that I wear, and initially when I received these in my dreams, I was concerned because they didn't seem to look like anybody else's beads. The first beads that I got were a string of green beads, single string, that I wear, the plain green ones. That was the first string I got, and I was specifically shown in a dream wearing those on my wrists. Then the other beads that I then got thereafter were these blue and white beads. So there's actually 3 shades of blue: a very pale blue, a very deep blue, almost indigo, and then a flat blue, and then the white. And these are very similar to the pattern of the evil eye beads, the same colors if you look very closely. I didn't realize until I continued to study spirituality, just trying to understand my gift and where it comes from. And the first strand of beads that I received to put around my neck was this blue one. And thereafter, I got this red one. This was then followed by the yellow and the white together. I'm just going to see if I can pull them out so that you can see yellow and white together. And then the last strand that I received was this black and white. And when I got the red and white beads, I was very concerned because according to what I'd been taught and the material that was out there, red and white beads signify ubungoma. You have an ancestral gift as a diviner of Nguni origin, and that would normally indicate that you need to go and initiate as a healer. But I had already been told by my ancestors in a dream that I don't have a gift yobungoma. I have other healing gifts, but ubungoma is not one of them. So I had to trust that. As I did my research, I later learned that the blue and white, or the blue and clear beads, or just the clear beads, those are from the Ifa tradition, and those are associated with the deity Yemaya or Yemonja, and she is the deity that lives in the sea, and her name means the mother whose children are as many as the fishes. According to Ifa, the yellow beads are for the deity Oshun, and she is known as the goddess of the sweet waters, so she is worshipped at the river. That's where you make the offerings to her. The red and white beads are for Shango. He is a male deity, and he is associated with strength and power. He's known as the god of thunder. You could technically say that he's the equivalent of Thor. The white beads in the Ifa tradition, those represent Obatala, and he is the eldest of the Orishas, or the deities, and he represents order. He leads all the Orishas and philosophy and learning. And then this strand of beads, which is black and white, in the Ifa tradition, it stands for Elegwa or Legba or Papa Legba, and he is known as the opener of the roads or the messenger of the Orishas. So he carries the messages from human beings to the other deities. So you cannot speak to any other deity in the Ifa tradition before you call on Papa Legba or Elegwa. So there are a lot of stories and teachings I'm still studying. I haven't fully understood. Then the ones on my wrists, the green one, that is actually for Orunmila, who is the deity responsible for divination. And there's a story that goes with the green beads. So normally if someone has a gift as a healer, as a diviner, they receive this one first. Apparently there's a story linked to it in terms of when you go to sleep in the land of dreams, if you are wearing the green beads, you're identified as one of Orunmila's children, a diviner, a spiritual being, a gifted child, and therefore you're not allowed to be killed or to die in your dreams. Then that's the story. Then the other strand with the green and black beads, that one stands for Ogun. Ogun is also a very powerful deity in Ifa. He apparently is the father of Shango, and he stands for strength. He is a metal worker, the first blacksmith, the first one to melt metal, but he also then had to go and live in the forest. So he's also very much an eco warrior and one who cares for the forest. So that is according to the Ifa tradition. I also then learned that in terms of Zulu cosmology, there are 7 deities, and the eldest of the deities is Umvelinqangi. And when you read the descriptions of Umvelinqangi, he's the eldest of the deities, he's the leader of the deities, the most senior, and his qualities correspond to those of Obatala with the white beads. Then you have Uma, and Credo Mutwa in his book Indaba My Children calls her Ninavanu Ma, meaning mother of the people, and her qualities correspond very closely to those of Yemaya. The third deity or angel is Tunywasigamenzi, which is an angelic being sent by God. According to the Zulu cosmology, is Nomhoi. And when you read about her, her qualities correspond to those of Oshun. So there are others like Usomandla, who represents the omnipotence of God. There's also Umlenze Munye, who is the one-legged God, also in charge of healers, diviners, and magic. I don't have his beads. He's not one of the deities or angels, I believe, that are assigned to me. So there are others. There are many. I have a post on Twitter that I made where I broke down the seven deities in terms of Zulu cosmology, and I identified their similarities to the deities in Ifa. But what happens with beads, particularly in Southern Africa, is they do indicate that you have a spiritual gift. The colors are there to help manage your vibration and balance the energies. So you have the red with the white, and this generally is for people that either have an ancestral gift, yobungoma, or have an ancestral gift, yabatandazi, because you also get the priestly gifts, the priestly and prophetic gifts. They also wear red and white robes, depending on the nature of the angelic guides that they're walking with and the energies that they need to balance. White usually comes to those that have a gift associated with abalozi, who are ancient deities. They generally manifest when you've been practicing for a very long time as a healer. Also, amanono, who are the spirits of children that died young, but once they cross over, they assume their status as ancient spirits, because when we are in spirit, we are eternal. It's only when we're born into this world that we become mortals. And blue beads generally are associated with people that have healing gifts associated with water, either prophecy or ubungoma. It all just depends. But generally, the colorful beads are associated with angelic gifts and gifts of prophecy. And I think that goes back to those deities that we spoke about, or Nomhoi, or Oshun, or whatever name they're given in that culture. But yellow beads usually indicate somebody who is, got strong psychic gifts. Their clairs are in operation, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience and your claircognizance, your clairgustance and your clairalience. I have a post on Twitter that describes those, but maybe when there's time, I will talk about those. We'll make a video as well. And the black and white beads usually signify somebody who has a gift of fighting evil, banishing evil, and because it's black and white, it means you've been given the gift to be and you have the ability to work against the darkness and push back the darkness. And red generally is given as an indication of somebody who is a prayer warrior, and this is somebody who wins battles through prayer. Black and white usually indicates that you have the ability to banish evil, but also to work with certain types of medicines. So in African tradition, you have white medicine, which is for cleansing, for healing. You have red medicine, which is generally for fighting and repelling evil. And then you have black medicine, which is more for banishing and cleansing. And those are some of the colors that you'll see among the beads. You also get people that get red and black beads. There's a significance there as well. The bead colors ultimately have a meaning for the person that is wearing the beads, because these are given by their ancestors. Um, and their ancestors know what they need to wear and why they need to wear it, and how and when to balance. You'll find that beads are worn either on the wrists or the ankles or around your neck. These correspond to key energy centers, where that reside, in the area of your joints. And the wearing of the beads or crystals is designed to make sure that you are able to balance those energies as you do your spiritual work. So I do have other bead patterns and colors. I'm just going to switch my camera over to my table and we'll just look at each one by one. Okay, for some reason, I don't know why my camera is not switching, but that's fine. So among the first bead patterns I was given before I got these, I was given this pattern, so I made this myself. It's green with white and blue. Honestly, my ancestors know why they gave me this pattern. All I know is that, there's certain things happen when I wear them. They have clear beads. Clear beads are also associated with the gifts of prayer and water. I was also shown this pattern, so I also made these, and these are white with clear beads that are alternating. And generally I wear these when I go to the river or I'm going to the mountain to pray. So in terms of the Ifa tradition, you're not supposed to wear your necklaces or beads when you are menstruating. So if it's that time of the month, I'll generally wear my other beads like this, just to connect with my ancestors. Then I also have these that are red and white. So your ancestors will show you what colors, what patterns, which ones you need to use, which ones you need to wear. They know best, so I just follow the instructions. I was also, when I started very early in my journey, given a pair of rope necklaces in this design. What I picked up was the dominant color was orange. And then, the rainbow color is really just for variety, but the predominant colors are white and orange. Orange is a combination of red and yellow. So it carries the vibration of red, which is for protection, and the vibration of yellow, which is for intuition. And it, again, works quite closely with your angelic gifts. So a little bit later on in my journey, I was shown this design, which I would wear on my wrist. I haven't worn it lately because the orange beads are fading, so I guess I need to make a new one. And again, rainbow colors associated with certain deities and the pattern. All I do is follow the instructions that I'm given in my dreams on the pattern. I'm going to set my camera down so that it doesn't keep moving and I keep getting out of focus. That's much better. So the thing to remember about beads is don't go and just buy beads and start wearing them. Ideally, you want to first get instructions from your ancestors, and they need to align with the gifts that you've been given, because they need to support the vibration in terms of the work that you need to do. So we wear beads as healers because they help balance different energies throughout our bodies. They help us to connect with our guides. Certain colors have very specific meanings. You can, it's best to consult your guides if you really want to know why you're having to wear yellow beads or green beads or whatever beads. Don't compare yourself to another healer and say, because Gogo Mkulu so and so wears these kinds of beads, then I must also have them. They're serving a very specific purpose because that color may actually have a significance in that person's family or their bloodline, and they need to then wear those beads to connect with the deities and the ancestors that they walk with, that help them with their gifts. So generally you will receive the instructions for your beads, what color, style, and where to wear them in your dreams. I wouldn't advise you to just go and make beads and put them on just because you like them. Sometimes what happens is that when your ancestors or guides don't approve of beads, they will just break by themselves. The necklace or the bracelet will break. And that's usually an indication that either it has absorbed a lot of negative energy and you need a new one, or it has it's something that your ancestors don't want you to wear for a specific reason best known to themselves. So the other thing to remember is that if you go for a consultation and the healer tells you, oh, you need red and white beads, or you need yellow beads or green beads or whatever, then get the beads, put them on and wear them. That is, almost also an instruction from your ancestors. But before you put on any beads, first speak to your ancestors, show them the beads, and tell them that you're going to put them on. Ask for them to be blessed, ask for any negative energy to be removed, and then you put them on. Generally, when you put beads on your wrist or your ankles, you don't take them off. If you have a healer who can put them on for you, that's great, because they'll go through a process where they pray and they speak to your ancestors and they tie the beads on, and they stay on. I tied my own beads on because I didn't really have somebody to do it for me. The ones that I used on my wrists, I make with fishing twine. Even these I also make with fishing twine. You get a very thin gauge of fishing twine that can fit through the holes of the seed beads. And that's good because with these I don't take the ones on my wrists off. So if they were cotton, they would have broken a long time ago because cotton thread degrades quite easily. So they're more durable if you make them with fishing twine. Um, these I don't sleep with them, and I don't wear them when I'm on my periods. I don't wear them during sex. Those are the rules that are associated with the beads for your Ifa deities. If you want to read more and understand better, read about the beads in Ifa in terms of the Orishas. The owner of your head usually is the one that claims you, and that is your head Orisha. And then there are others that then come after. Generally, you can get up to 5 what they call collares or necklaces. Um, in the Santeria tradition, which is the South American version of Ifa. I'm trying to remember what these are called in the Yoruba Ifa tradition, but I know that these are called Ide, spelled ILDE, but I'll remember what these are called in Yoruba. The name just escapes me. Um, Mine were very specific. These two are for the guides that are on my mother's side. I have a male and a female guide on my mother's side. And these are for my father's side because my dominant hand is my right hand. And I would like to think that the different colors represent different guides. That's why I only have one. Otherwise, I would have had many. It's either that or they just are similar to the one that I'm wearing around my neck, which is stands for Uma or Yemaya. I'm convinced that it stands for Yemaya because I also have a white cape, ispiga, that I've been instructed to wear, and that's what I wear during my prayers, along with amapai that I've been shown. So none of what I wear um, is by chance. This is all stuff that I've been shown in my dreams. One or two maybe I've been attracted to, and I've used my intuition. But when I've inquired Nyapahla and I speak to my guides, they then usually confirm by way of a dream that I should then start wearing. So that's how I have managed. Um, so if I'm wearing a specific outfit and I'm not wearing my collares, I'll wear these or I'll wear, the other ones. But they're really just there to help me connect to my guides. They kind of amplify my intuition, and make sure that I can operate in my gifts, especially when I do consultations and when I do my posts. There's some knowledge that just comes to me that is not necessarily something that would have been top of mind. um, there are beads that I also wear when I go to sleep. I just don't wear these because um, that's against the rules. But as I said, different colors have different significance for your guides. You can technically identify people that have similar gifts to you based on the beads that they're wearing. Possibly could consider them to be soul family, but at the same time, don't compare yourself to another healer. Everyone has their ancestors. They all work differently. They do different things. They have different gifts. And remember, even if you have several ancestral guides, they don't all show up at the same time. They show up in specific situations. There's some that show up when you need to um, pray for protection for yourself or for somebody else. There are other guides that show up when you need inner healing in terms of your spirit. There are other guides that show up when you need to make certain requests. Maybe you are praying on behalf of someone who's looking for a job, um, because they all have different gifts, they all have different powers. And so you just allow them to come close to you and to impart the gifts and the knowledge, whatever you need in your situation, whatever situation that you're faced with. But I hope you found this video useful, and we're going to do another part 2, which is going to look at the crystals. I hope I'll be able to turn the camera around properly so you can see them. But thank you so much for your likes, your shares, your subscribes. Thank you for your comments. I do try to read them and respond. I really appreciate that everyone is engaging on the channel. We're really trying to spread the knowledge. As I've shared previously, I am a Christian, but I also have an ancestral gift. I have people in my lineage who were healers, and they've passed on their gifts to me, and they've given me certain work to do. And it hasn't been an easy journey having both an ancestral and an angelic gift. There's always that tension, and there's always that worry that you're not doing the right thing by either set of guides. But for me, the most important thing is just showing that commitment and that desire to connect and that desire to do the work, and they will do the rest. I hope you have a pleasant day. It is evening for us, so I hope you have a pleasant evening. And if it's morning or afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you do watch this video, I hope you have a pleasant rest of your day. Thank you for watching.